accusing Prime Minister Narendra Modi of financially crippling Congress. And for the first time after so many years, Sonia Gandhi came to Congress office, and that too in the press room, sat with the president of the Congress party and addressed the press conference. And it was also rare for both Rahul and Sonia to be together. It was a very rare moment. Sonia Gandhi said, Prime Minister Modi is trying to cripple Congress financially. Now the question is it vendetta or normal course of action taken by the law of the land? Congress accused the ruling dispensation of crippling them. BJP responded to the Congress accusation, but we will discuss that later in the show. In the studio, I am joined by my input editor, Brijesh Pandey, KV Prasad, senior journalist, Jayant Bhattacharya, senior journalist. But before that, let me take you through the accusation made by the Congress. Actually, what did they say first? That's the most important part. Congress accusation: 200 crore in 11 accounts frozen because of 14.49 lakh cash donation. The cash component was just 0.07% of total donation. Punishment was 106%. Accounts frozen 3 weeks before poll announcement for donation made in 2017-18. These are the accusations made by Congress, provided by them. Let me be very clear. It prevented Congress from using its deposited amount of 285 crore. Notice also received from IT department for year 1993-1994 when Sitaram Kesri was the treasurer. BJP paralyzing Congress's ability to fight elections. BJP is violating level playing field and democracy. That's the charge of the Congress party. And most important of all, Sonia was there. So before I go even further, let me play out the bites of Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge.
This issue affects not just the Indian National Congress. It impacts our democracy itself most fundamentally. A systematic effort is underway by the Prime Minister to cripple the Indian National Congress financially. Funds collected from the public are being frozen, and money from our accounts is being taken away forcibly. However, even under these most challenging circumstances, we are doing our very best to maintain the effectiveness of our election campaign. On the other hand, the finances of the principal opposition party, the Indian National Congress, are under a determined assault. This, we all believe, is unprecedented and undemocratic.
Anybody in the country imagines what happens when your bank account, your ATM card, your entire financial identity is erased, right? You can imagine if it is done to a family, the family will starve to death. If it is done to a business, the business will be crippled, right? This is what has been done to the Congress party 1 month back. All our bank accounts have been frozen. We can do no campaign work. We cannot support our workers. We cannot support our candidates. Our leaders cannot fly from one part of the country to the other. Forget fly. They can't take a railway train. And this has been done literally 2 months before the election campaign. Why has it been done? One notice comes from the 90s. Another notice comes from 6-7 years ago. Quantum amount, 14 lakh rupees. And punishment, our entire financial identity. Right? What's interesting to me is that there are institutions in this country that are supposed to protect the democratic framework. There are the courts in the country, there's the election commission in the country, right? And nothing is happening. The election commission has not even said, wait a minute, you have frozen the bank account of the largest, of one of the biggest political parties, largest opposition in the country. And already our ability to fight the election has been damaged. We've already lost a month. As Markanji said, we are unable to get slots for advertising. We are unable to put ads in newspapers. And so what sort of a democracy is this? This is a criminal action on the Congress party. And it's a criminal action done by the Prime Minister and the Home Minister. It's very clear. This type of activity does not happen without them in today's India. You're being robbed of your most important asset. You're being robbed of your constitution, you're being robbed of your democratic structure, you're being robbed of the entire architecture, and everybody's just quiet.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जिस चुनावी चंदा बॉन्ड को इलीगल और अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल कहा, उस स्कीम के तहत मौजूदा सत्ताधारी दल ने हजारों करोड़ रुपए से ज्यादा अपने अकाउंट में भर लिया है और दूसरी तरफ साजिशन मुख्य विपक्षी दल का बैंक अकाउंट फ्रीज कर दिया गया है ताकि हम पैसों के अभाव में बराबरी से चुनाव ना लड़े और ना लड़ पाए। ये सत्ताधारी दल द्वारा एक खतरनाक खेल है। इसके दूरगामी प्रभाव होंगे क्योंकि अगर डेमोक्रेसी को इस देश में बचाना है तो लेवल प्लेइंग ग्राउंड होना चाहिए। ऐसा भी नहीं होना चंद देशों में चुनाव हो रहे हैं 99% वोट एक ही आदमी ले रहा है। राजनीतिक दल टैक्स नहीं देते, बीजेपी कभी इनकम टैक्स नहीं दी, लेकिन ये लागू सिर्फ कांग्रेस पे हो रहा है। कोई पॉलिटिकल पार्टी इनकम टैक्स के दायरे में नहीं आते, सच है ना? सेटल हो जाए। राजनीतिक दल नहीं आते, बीजेपी ने कभी नहीं दिया अकाउंट। इसके बाद भी अगर हमसे ये मांगा जा रहा है तो हम न्यायालय के अंतिम निर्णय का इंतजार कर रहे हैं।
I'm joined by KV Prasad, senior journalist, Jayant Bhattacharya, journalist, an old friend of mine, and Brijesh Pandey. Brijesh, do you think the law which is taking its own course, or as Sonia Gandhi said, it's the crippling of the main opposition party which is at the heart of this conversation?
Well, Kartikeya, honestly speaking, if you have a case against them and then, there is an income tax notice against you, you go to IT SAT, then you go to Delhi High Court to seek relief, and if you are being denied relief, you have to go through the procedure. There is no way you can say that, if a particular judgment has not come my way, then the judgment has to be faulty. There is nothing which the election commission can do in this particular scenario. I agree. This is the timing is the worst possible timing as far as the campaigning of Congress party is concerned, coming just a month before, couple of months before when the dates for elections were announced. The timing is of course, not good for the Congress party, but I think the relief has to come from either ITSAT or from the apex court where they they have gone, and 1st of April there is a hearing. But I think a lot of valuable time has definitely gone before the Supreme Court takes any particular decision on that. But courts have taken a decision. Delhi High Court has taken a decision. IT SAT, which is the appellate tribunal of income tax related cases, they have decided against the plea which has been sought by or relief which was sought by the Congress party. So there's law of the land and you have to abide by it, whether it goes in favor or against favor. So saying that, while saying that it is crippling us is absolutely correct. But to say that that the democratic institutions which are allowing the murder of the democracy within courts, I think that's stretching it a bit too far.
Okay, Mr. Prasad?
Yeah, tell me.
So do you agree that, is it the Congress cribbing, or do you think that, they have been targeted here? The bank accounts frozen.
Well, the question is, as per law or as per the procedure, the income tax authorities must have moved it, and that is why whatever processes that have followed by the Congress party seem to have got no relief from the authorities and also probably from the court or whatever they've approached to. The process is on. Well, I think there is a question of timing which you raised in your opening statement. Well, I think the timing is definitely wrong for the Congress party. They are really on the back foot. One, of course, they're fighting in the midst of just about beginning of the election. So obviously they find hampered or reined in by the lack of finances or access to finances or whatever they have, right? So that is being the case. The Congress party, by coming out, today with all the Congress president flying by two former Congress president, obviously want to make a political point to kind of convey this message that, look, whatever is happening has some kind of there is some power behind, and that's why, in fact, they named the Prime Minister. They charged and accused the Prime Minister and his government to have been directly into it. So obviously, it's a political gambit the Congress is taking, having been in a situation where they are right now, Kartikeya.
I think that's a fair point, But this it's a very complex dynamic, I must say, because at one point, the Congress is cribbing. On the other hand, right now the ED team has reached Kejriwal's residence. So there are a lot of things which are happening. There are two different stories. Right now we are talking about the Congress party, but I would definitely like to say that on the issue of corruption or malpractices, Bharatiya Janata Party has taken a hard stand. Now there are a lot of people who are saying that Bharatiya Janata Party is taking, or government is taking a hard stand only against those who are part of the opposition. No hard stand is taking to the people who joined Bharatiya Janata Party. Now, Kejriwal is another story altogether, because he has lost today, I would use the word immunity, but the safeguard, because he had approached the court and the court said, we are not going to get into it because he wanted some sort of a protection. Correct, Brijesh?
So he wanted interim protection against any kind of arrest before election gets over.
He wanted interim that's what he wanted, interim protection before any sort of a protest. June. So, but then the larger story is about, the way BJP has positioned itself on the larger issue of corruption, and I would say that, apart from the Bharati politics, this will play a very, very important role. Jayanto also joined me. Jayanto, last time, when did you remember Sonia, Rahul, Mallikarjun Kharge sitting together? When was the last time that happened?
Yes, indeed. That really underlines the situation that the Congress is facing right now. The Congress president, flanked by the top two, on one side Sonia, on the other side Rahul, that indeed tells the story and the situation that the Congress party is right now going through. But at the same time, Kartikeya, we also have to look at that they're talking about a level playing field. Is politics all about that level or equality and all that? Hasn't it happened before also that there have been certain steps taken by the ruling composition against the opposition? It has happened earlier. It's one of those situations. But yes, taking into account the time that it has happened, to some extent, it says a few things, which they do have a point. But at the same time, they have said that they have already approached the correct authorities, that is the appellate tribunal. They have approached the court, and they have been told about their position. So here they want to go to the people. But here, Kartikeya, talking about their problems, would it make any difference to the voters? Will they have that kind of a sudden sympathy wave that the Congress is trying to create? I don't think. It has given out a statement, perhaps, with the top three sitting together, along with the treasurer himself. So it does give out a kind of a statement, kind of the situation that the Congress is going through. But how far the common man in the country will look up to it, because it's there in the statement itself that we have approached the authorities and they have been told about their situation right now. So yes, on the one hand, it, as you rightly pointed out, the top echelons of the Congress sitting together sends out a message. But at the same time, how much it will matter, that has to be seen. Kartikeya.
But BJP, I have to tell you, it's time for a short break, but BJP was not defensive. BJP slammed Rahul Gandhi and Ravi Shankar Prasad was deployed. He said, do not slam the Indian democracy. He did not get into the detail, but he kept on saying, don't slam the democracy. He said these are baseless allegations. He said that facts are facts. He also slammed Rahul Gandhi for slandering the system and further added that it is not Congress bank account but the party that is frozen. That's the play of word, but let's listen into Ravi Shankar Prasad first.
आने वाले लोकसभा चुनाव में हार की हताशा में एक बहाना ढूंढा गया है. In utter desperation of imminent defeat, the Congress party at the highest level sought to create an alibi today. कुछ तो बोले. लेकिन उसमें कांग्रेस पार्टी का अकाउंट अगर फ्रीज किया गया है तो देश का अकाउंट फ्रीज किया गया है. ये तो कमाल है भाई. मुझे अपने जेपी मूवमेंट के आंदोलन के दिनों की याद आ गई. इंदिरा इज इंडिया, इंडिया इज इंदिरा. याद है ना? इमरजेंसी का दिन, जेपी की अगुवाई, कांग्रेस पार्टी की हार. आप सभी जानते हैं कांग्रेस पार्टी राजनीतिक रूप से सूख कर कांटा हो गई है. फिर भी कांग्रेस पार्टी का अकाउंट अगर फ्रीज हुआ तो देश का अकाउंट फ्रीज हुआ. मिस्टर राहुल गांधी, व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय दिस? डोंट इंसल्ट इंडियन डेमोक्रेसी. राहुल गांधी, भारत के लोकतंत्र को इस तरह से आप शर्मसार नहीं करें. ये देश आपकी पार्टी से बड़ा है, ये देश का लोकतंत्र आपसे बड़ा है. और आज इसी देश में आपने झूठ बोला है, गाली दी है और सब देश ने देखा है. टीवी पे चला है ना. तो आप झूठ बोल सकते हैं, गाली दे सकते हैं, देश सुन रहा है. आपको यह तक अधिकार है और करें, देश का लोकतंत्र नहीं है. ये कौन सा तर्क है? लेकिन राहुल जी, सोनिया जी, आपको अगर देश की जनता वोट नहीं देती तो हम क्या करें? बीजेपी के राष्ट्रीय मंच से हम एक सवाल पूछना चाहेंगे. सोनिया जी, राहुल जी, अब खरगे जी से कितना पूछा जाए देखते हैं. आज भी तो उनका नंबर 3 ही था प्रायोरिटी में, हालांकि वो राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष हैं. अगर देश के लोग आपको वोट नहीं देते और आगे नहीं देने वाले हैं तो हम क्या करें? अगर राहुल गांधी की यह अपेक्षा है कि भाजपा के मित्र उनके लिए कैंपेन करें तो ये तो हम करने वाले हैं नहीं, क्योंकि उनका तो स्टॉक मार्केट इतना गड़बड़ाया हुआ है. और आज मैं कांग्रेस के लोगों को एक बात कहना चाहूंगा. हम भी चाहते हैं कि विपक्ष के रूप में कांग्रेस पार्टी पनपे. कितना पनपे उनका विषय है, लेकिन कांग्रेस पार्टी अब समझे कि जब जब राहुल गांधी से मुंह खुलवाएंगे तब तक स्टॉक मार्केट का और गिरेगा. देयर इज अ जेंटल एडवाइस टू द कांग्रेस पार्टी. We wish you well, but realize now the more you allow Rahul Gandhi to speak, the more you are losing the ground in the country. अभी आप सोच लीजिए.
Mr. Prasad, there is also one thing which I think should be brought to the notice of the public. There is also a notice on the 1993-1994, and if I am not wrong, Sitaram Kesri was the treasurer then?
Yeah, I think Mr. Kesri exited around 96, 97 when Narasimha Rao stepped down as a Congress president, and Mr. Kesri was made, and then I think Motilal Vora came in for a while, and then Ahmed Patel also was there. So this was, but yeah, you're right. At that point of time, it was Mr. Kesri probably. And if you remember, of course, anybody can open accounts anytime. So tax authorities or enforcement people have some information on which they have doubt, they can very well open those pages and seek information or seek clarification. So I think on that point, and remember, all said and done, the authorities would have made their whatever they have raised issues or whatever doubts they have raised or whatever queries they have raised on issues they have gone to frozen accounts, as the Congress has said many a time. Obviously, they would follow the rule book. They will follow the text which is they're supposed to follow, because it has to find scrutiny in a court of law eventually, or wherever the appellate authorities exist. So to that extent, it looks very clear as far as I see it, Karthike.
So, Jayanto, you think that this is not going to go anywhere? The stay is going to be there because it's a legal matter? It's not going to go anywhere?
Yes, indeed, it's a legal matter and it will continue the way they have taken. The Congress has taken it up with the authorities, and obviously it will go on in that way itself. They have to make that proper official approach, and they have done it. But yes, once again, I have to say that this timing, of course, may have raised a few eyebrows, and the BJP, it's not only Ravi Shankarji, of course, he did the official press conference, but other BJP leaders have also reacted to the press conference today. But these may not be enough to pull down the eyebrows. So that also will remain there. But as things stand right now, they cannot, if they have thrown the book, they will go by the book, as Prasad rightly pointed out. So it has to go by the book, and let's see what happens after that, Karthikeyan.
You know, when we are talking about this story, the accusation of the Congress party, it also tells us that how in absence of funding, Congress will be in no position to fight the elections.
Well, yes, of course. I mean, that's a given. The fact of the matter is that the reason why you saw Sonia, Rahul and Mallikarjun Kharge sitting on one dais, a thing which is, I don't even remember when was the last time it happened. It indicated to the severity of the situation. The fact is that the Congress is reeling under fund crunch. The fact is that the Congress has approached the authorities. What is ironical is that right now there is nothing which they can do about it. The Supreme Court has agreed to hear this matter on 1st of April, which is like, very close to the first phase of election of 2024. When you're fighting a BJP's juggernaut, as also said by Ravi Shankar Prasad, that, if you have an exemption under IT Act, political parties do have, but then they have to file their ITR every single year. If you don't file an ITR for a month, then that exemption goes, that protection cover goes. I think, the Congress, they say that this was in 2020-21 and the Congress should have fought the election. I think whatever happened, this was something which they clearly didn't bargain for, and it couldn't have come at a worst possible time for the Congress party, which is battling, inner party dissatisfaction, friction with their, other alliance partners, and in middle of all this, the biggest blow.
There is one more thing which I would like to bring this to everyone's attention. In middle of it, Rahul Gandhi again chose to address the Shakti issue. I have to come to this issue because, this discussion, this part cannot end without getting back at, that despite focusing on the issue of the frozen bank accounts, Rahul Gandhi again came back to Shakti. Let's play that bite.
हमारी असुर्रा शक्ति से लड़ाई हो रही है, ठीक है? नफरत भरी असुर्रा शक्ति, हमारी असुर्रा शक्ति से लड़ाई हो रही है, ठीक है? नफरत भरी असुर्रा शक्ति.
Okay, so basically a demonic power, that's what Rahul Gandhi said, but I still think he didn't get that right, correct?
Well, he didn't get right, and
the pronunciation.
It's good to be, you have to be consistent with your ideas, but you also have to realize or be pragmatic enough when to realize that what you're insisting on is not working for you. Whether you call him Asura Shakti or whether you said, you make a gaffe and then, when opponents try to take advantage of it, then you try to portray yourself as the victim. It doesn't work like that. And had it been the first gaffe or the second gaffe or the third gaffe, people would have still been, lenient, as people have been for a very long time. I mean, these kind of utterances, it's like, taking the entire narrative of the election some 30-40 years back. I mean, it doesn't wash right now. You have to have a counter narrative against Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and you can give him a fight for his money. People have.
Look at Mamta, look at Arvind Kejriwal. But there's another thing. You are having a fight for the money. Mr. Prasad, there are ED officials inside Kejriwal's house. You have DCP North there.
With the entire force.
With the entire force. And you have Hemant Soren already.
That can work. That works, Karthike.
So let me ask you. Wouldn't that create some sort of a public furor, counter pressure? ये क्या हो रहा है? सारे के सारे opposition के लोग या तो पैसा बंद हो रहा है या जेल के पीछे जा रहे हैं. ये भी तो हो सकता है. Let me be the devil's advocate.
Yeah, well, Karthike, there is a distinct possibility that such a feeling might creep in at some point of time. But let us get this thing. The way it has come out, the whole attempt is to fortify this perception that corruption is at a stage and the BJP, as you said in one of the points, that wants to work to eradicate or crack down on this corruption in political system. That's the way they have been campaigning for the last several years, and every attempt or every move or every authority movement in this direction is to try and tackle this menace and or this scourge political corruption. That's one aspect. The second is, I'm sure, even if to presume that there was some political understanding or the political party would at this point of time surely would have factored a kind of, if at all, a sympathy that could be generated not just by inside the supporters of the Aam Aadmi Party or Congress, but some of those undecided or those who are on the fringes and suddenly say, hey, what's happening? What's all going on? So there is this thing, but I'm sure a political party like the Bharatiya Janata Party, knowing very well for the way they are meticulous, immaculate in their calculations.
I really don't know what's going to happen, but one thing is for sure that the corruption issue is here to stay. You know, this freezing of the bank is a corruption issue. Hemant Soren became a corruption issue. ED officials in front of Kejriwal residence is corruption issue. But this is all in the show. Thank you all of you for joining me. Sonia in her statement saying that the party is being crippled by the ruling dispensation.